Hey guys, David from Unqualified Critics, and there's yet another firmware update for the AtGames Legends Ultimate. Now, when I used to post about the Legends Ultimate, I'd get a ton of comments asking about retail availability, and thankfully, these are more or less available right now. So if you're interested in this, I'll put a link below to the Walmart cabinet, and the Sam's Club cabinet has been in and out of stock, but that's available too if that's what you're after. Now, they do firmware updates very regularly. If you've been following the Legends Ultimate at all, you already know that, and so it's not like any one update is earth-shattering. These are just incremental improvements, but they are pretty good about releasing new features that are helpful and expanding upon existing features. The two main elements of this update are two things. Number one, the streaming feature has been extended. You can now live stream on Facebook, and number two, you can now create sub accounts to your main Legends Ultimate account and then restrict access to those sub accounts. So specifically, a scenario for that would be if you have a kid and you want to give them the ability to use the cabinet, but maybe you want to restrict the bring your own game function or the ArcadeNet function. ArcadeNet is a paid option, so it makes sense to keep them out of that. That's going to be especially helpful when the Legends Ultimate will allow you to buy individual games, which I don't know when that's coming, but that's a feature that's been teased before, and you probably wouldn't want a youngster running around with your credit card buying Candy Crush for the 19th time. But beyond blocking sub accounts out of ArcadeNet or the bring your own game feature, you can actually block specific games. So if there's any game on this cabinet that you don't want a user to be able to play, you can restrict them from it. Here's how you do that. You go to settings, you go to parental controls, create a sub account if you haven't already. All right, once the account is created, we need to go into it to make changes. All right, now that you've confirmed that you do have access to the master account on the Legends Ultimate, here we can switch on and off ArcadeNet and the bring your own game feature. Bring your own game, of course, is when you have a USB device plugged in with some extra ROMs. Not really sure why you'd want to turn that off, but ArcadeNet definitely makes sense to me because that will eventually be a paid feature, and you might not want somebody who, let's say you have a kid, messing around with that account and potentially even buying games with your credit card when and if they ever add that feature where you can actually buy individual games. And then you can blacklist the games. Now, you do have to scroll through this list. It would have been nice if there was a searchable way to do this, or filter it by letter, for example. But it's a few hundred games. It's going to take you some time. If you have a game you want to keep out of here, you can do that. Now, I don't know that any of these games are particularly controversial, but to each their own. Point is, you now have more flexibility than ever. But let's test it out. So if I turn off bring your own game, and I'm going to leave all the ROMs up, hit change, and here we have it. I'm logged in now with my junior account, and the bring your own game feature is now missing. Now let's take a look at live streaming. So this feature has been there for a little while now. I think it's a pretty cool feature. I haven't used it myself, but for a lot of people, they do like streaming, and to not need a capture card to be able to stream directly from the arcade is pretty cool. What's new here is simply that they've added Facebook as a platform that you can stream to. So it's good to know that even when they release big name new features like streaming, that there are additional improvements in the pipeline. Here's a feature I'd really like to see from the Legends Ultimate team is the ability to navigate the user interface with the trackball, including the keyboard and including all these different elements on screen. Now, they did recently improve this so that you can scroll endlessly by just tapping forward on the joystick. Before, you would have to hit the page forward or page back button, so it would kind of interrupt your navigation. You'd get to one end and then you'd have to hit a button. So that's a nice improvement, but let me use my trackball to roll around this UI. We've got a lot of different elements and a lot of different features in this cabinet and a ton of games to pick from. It's a good problem to have that it takes so long to get through everything, but it'd be a lot quicker if we were able to use that ball. That's all I have for you guys for now. If you have the Legends Ultimate already, let me know below what you think of it. And if you're planning to pick one up, use the link below and support the channel if you're going to buy the Walmart version. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, guys, and I'll talk to you again soon.
I live inside my own world of make-believe.